Moon of the Wolf is a 1972 horror TV movie directed by Dan Petrie, starring David Janssen, Barbara Rush, and Bradford Dillman. It's based on the novel of the same name by Leslie Whitten, whose horror novels inspired Joe Lansdale, Chris Carter, and Stephen King. A young woman's body is found on the bayou. The parish sheriff searches for a suspect, uncovering his town's scandals and secrets in the process. As the bodies pile up and the town gets riled up, the evidence points to an extraordinary conclusion: a curse that threatens to turn the bayou red. This film has the pace and style of 70s detective shows. Yes, they give away the twist in the title, but it's the whodunit, not the whatdunit, that this story is concerned with. And it was made for American broadcast TV from the get-go, so no worries about anybody walking in on anything awkward. But while it's a decent TV procedural, werewolf movie fans may be disappointed by what they see. Or don't see, rather. There's no transformation scene, the attacks are mostly off-screen, and the revealed beast looks like Lon Chaney Jr. wearing slacks. The werewolf content is mostly told instead of shown, and with the limits of budget and technology, that's for the best. David Janssen's the bona fide TV star here. The finale of his series The Fugitive was one of the highest rated TV episodes of all time. He was also the title tough guy in O'Hara, U.S. Treasury, Richard Diamond, Detective, and Harry O. He even brought his particular brand of grit to the big screen on occasion. Barbara Rush started her career in the movies, making her mark with the sci-fi classics When Worlds Collide and It Came from Outer Space. She would find steady work on TV, including recurring roles on Peyton Place, Saints and Sinners, Flamingo Road, and Seventh Heaven. She even played a Batman villainess named Nora Clavicle. Bradford Dillman was a reliable choice to play well-dressed scoundrels. He was cast as 8 different characters during Murder, She Wrote's run. He also traded glares with Dirty Harry, was the mad scientist in the film Bug, and shared the Best Actor award at Cannes as part of the cast of the 1959 film Compulsion. Claudia McNeil won an Emmy for her appearance on the 60s soap The Nurses, but her most celebrated role would be matriarch Lena Younger in multiple Broadway productions of A Raisin in the Sun, as well as the 1961 film adaptation, which was also directed by Moon of the Wolf director Dan Petrie. Moon of the Wolf was one of Geoffrey Lewis's early roles. He'd become a very prominent character actor in the 70s and 80s, usually playing bad guys and weirdos. He fared better when he shared the screen with Clint Eastwood. They'd worked together on 7 of Eastwood's films. Royal Dano wore a variety of hats for plenty of TV and film westerns. In the 80s, he appeared in such horror-adjacent films as Something Wicked This Way Comes, House 2, The Second Story, and Killer Clowns from Outer Space. Also, he was that judge on Twin Peaks. The parish mayor is played by Dan Priest. He played the station master on Little House on the Prairie. Serena Sand is the screaming nurse. She was one of the Telosians in the very first episode of Star Trek. This movie is great for classic TV bingo. Moon of the Wolf was Leslie Whitten's second novel in the horror genre. His primary calling was investigative journalism, but in between writing headlines, he wrote the novel Progeny of the Adder in 1965, followed by Moon of the Wolf 2 years later. Whitten's style of describing classic horror stories in contemporary journalistic reportage was novel for its time, inspiring such works as Salem's Lot and The X-Files. Also similar in style to Whitten's novels, Kolchak, The Night Stalker, which would debut on the ABC Movie of the Week in 1971 to major rating success, whetting the network's appetite for more horror movies. Moon of the Wolf first aired on ABC on September 26, 1972, and would rebroadcast several times after. The film might actually be more obscure today if not for a typo. In the opening credits, the Roman numerals that traditionally note the copyright year spell out 1962, not 1972. And that's how the film ended up in the public domain, on many a late-night TV broadcast or cheap horror film collection. This movie is a solid TV horror movie, helping set the standard for such horror procedurals as The X-Files, Angel, and Supernatural, but with familiar faces of a different TV generation. So, if you're a fan of classic TV scare fests such as Dark Shadows or Night Gallery, you might want to sink your teeth into this one.